Angela Fazio is an industry powerhouse who has overseen 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production. And Kristen Cantrell is one of the nation's most accomplished team leaders, helping thousands of agents build their businesses. They are passionate about educating, encouraging, and empowering moms in real estate. Our next episode starts now.
Hey everyone, I am Kristen Cantrell.
I'm Angela Fazio, and I'm so excited for today's guest, Dawn Forkenbrock. We love her last name.
We love her last name. I'm going to say it just because we fought over who was going to say it, Forkenbrock. All right, Dawn, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited. So as you said, I'm Dawn Forkenbrock. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking of when I was dating my husband and I didn't know his last name at first. And when I finally asked him, I was like, what? And I'm thinking, oh, I could never have that be my last name. But now I say, I got a great man and kind of a weird last name, so I'll take it.
I think it's like a strong, bold last name, though. Like
I like it.
That's actually this morning I said her last name is like strong.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, so I've been an agent for 6 years. I'm married, obviously, with 3 kids. They're 8, 6, and 4 months. We have a little baby that was born in January. And I came from a banking background. I was with a major financial institution for almost 15 years. And then after my first son was born, a really long leave of absence. And I always say I was brainwashed and my mind was able to clear during that leave of absence. And I went back for only a couple months after he was 9 months old, and I couldn't do it anymore. It was just too toxic, and it just wasn't me anymore. And I took a little bit of a break from work and then got into real estate. Got my license when I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter. She's my second. And then the rest is history.
We have to start with like the best part that's going to be so encouraging for people that listen.
Yes.
Can we start with that?
Yeah, we should totally start with that.
So I love the fact that your first year in real estate, you only closed 4 deals. And and last year you closed 46, right?
Yep.
46. That's awesome.
Which is so good. And we were talking earlier just about like how hard that first year can be. So like, tell us what your first year looked like and kind of how did you gain momentum in the business?
So my first year, I really didn't work my business at all. I still felt like I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 2 in diapers. I didn't have a babysitter. My husband worked full time. And so my first 4 transactions were friends that I knew that I had casually mentioned I was going to real estate school. And looking back now, it just means so much to me that those people called me and trusted me, even though I was brand new, to help them. And so those were my first people. And I would only be able to go look at homes with them when my husband got home from work. So luckily the market was a little different than it is now, and you didn't have to rush out there to go look at the house. And my second year, I doubled to 8 transactions and really started enjoying what I was doing, really liked getting out of the home and having something else other than being a mom. I just felt like I'm not the stay-at-home mom type. I don't even know what that is, but it just wasn't for me. I love being a mom. I love being with my kids, but I loved having that career. And so that's when I just, I don't know how to grow this business. I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And so I got help from other people, and then it just kept growing.
I'm never going to get sick of stories of how agents get started, especially, I mean, sometimes we interview people and right out of the gate, they're killing it. Sometimes that happens, but more often than not, it's your story for different reasons. Some people start off really slow because they had no idea how hard they had to work to make something start. It's like taking a huge boulder and trying to get it started, that's how hard it is in the beginning. But your story is great because that would also encourage people who are like, you know what, I've got babies at home. I'm not really interested in going hard after it. And you can start in any way, in any season of your life in this business.
Well, that's what I was going to say is we always talk about the different seasons. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, Dawn, but it's almost like sometimes you compare yourself to other people in our industry where you're like, gosh, they're doing so much. and I'm not, or gosh, like I wish my business looked more like theirs. And I think it's so important to constantly remind ourselves is everyone's business looks different and it's going to change, and you're going to have different seasons of being super busy, being slow, being, whatever your whole life looks like at that point,
I totally agree. And I would not change it for the world. And I've shared this story with a couple of people, but during those years where I was home with the kids and I wasn't really working and just selling I get like emotional even talking about it, but we didn't have a lot of money. And I remember selling things on Facebook and having the people come to my house and give me the $5. I remember selling things on Facebook so I could go to lunch with my friend the next day. Like
I've done that.
Extra money, but I went back because you never get back with your kids. So for me, I feel like it was a God for us. I loved those memories I have with. Even it was really hard. Sometimes I could go stressed, 110 out, and I tried to clear, and I'm nearly in tears. They're crazy and both pooped at the same time or whatever, but
both pooped at the same time.
That is the worst. I've been there too.
That's one of the benefits of my kids are so far apart. Every single one of them are so far apart, at least 4 years apart, except for the adopted one, whatever. So I never had two of the same anything.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely did. And that was always not fun. Oh,
yeah.
I was like, and you know what I also did? When both my kids were in diapers, I bought a puppy. And I was like, why did I do this? Do you remember I came to work one day and I was like, I have cleaned up more poop this morning than I feel like I ever have in my whole life. Like puppy poop, baby poop, all the above. It's horrible. So tell us, like, I know another thing that you've mentioned, which I really love this story too, is that you come from a corporate background and then you talk about being brainwashed and then never wanting to go back. Like I totally can relate to that too. Like once you have kids, like kind of your mindset shifts. So was that really hard for you to kind of like be like, hey, I don't ever want to go back there and I'm not going to, or like, what was your whole mentality when you went through that?
It was so hard. Even growing up, parents have jobs, and so the way that the corporate world, I guess, brainwash, I don't know, I can't think of a better word, but they make you feel like you have benefits here. You have a 401k. You have great money here. Where are you going to go and have all this? And if you leave, you're not going to have this. So I had that in my mind, like I have to have a job that has health insurance. I have to have a 401k, and I've got guaranteed hours. And so it was really, really hard to leave. But I hit that breaking point where my own mental, and it turned out to be the best thing. And I think people need to realize, or there are options. Yes, it's health insurance for in part by a corporation, and it's great to have 1K. So many options out there. People have those things.
So I think what I heard you say, because you're breaking up a little bit, that in your old job when you were leaving, they were speaking fear into your mind. Mm-hmm. How are you gonna support yourself? How are you gonna do this? You don't even have health insurance. Like, what are you gonna do? That's awful. That is awful.
That is awful.
To speak fear into somebody's mind like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Obviously you were a great employee, or else they wouldn't have done that. Or maybe they're just nasty and miserable, because misery likes company.
I guess. Yeah. And I was just exactly what I was saying. And I was just saying it's important for people to remember who are considering going into real estate that there are options out there. Mm-hmm. That you can still have these things. It just might look a little bit different.
Right.
100%. So I want you to tell a God story, because I loved how you just had your baby in January. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about how you kind of slowed down a little bit, and then tell everybody what you've told us about that.
Yeah. It was just saying that it's like every time you start having those little doubts in your mind where you don't have, then something happens. That's like, I told you, why were you doubting me? And in January, I had my third child, a son. And I was a little slow. I didn't have a lot of business going on. It's right after the holidays, first of the year. It's pretty normal. And so I was able to be at home and not have to, and be more present and not have to worry about so much with work. But then, and in my mind, I'm also thinking, what if I never pick up? What if I never sell another house? What am I going to do? And I actually had a backup plan. Like I had a job in mind. If nothing happens soon, I'm going to do this other job. Like I was just so paranoid about it. And then right now it's just right back to where I was last year. Like I've got a lot going on. I have a lot of clients working with me, and it just goes to show like God's timing, and God did have a plan for me. He gave me that time off so I could be with my newborn son, because that is so important. I feel that I was able to be with him, and now I get to have both again, and I get to be with my kids and have a career.
It's so funny because I love Jesus with all my heart, and I know that he has my back. But why do we get in those times where we're like maybe angry? I'll tell you the funniest story. So we were going to our hotel room, not just the other week. We were in Cabo, and we were going up to the hotel room, and the key didn't work. And my husband was like, oh man. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's okay. I'll go down and get the keys. Like, fine, no, never mind. We'll just go down and get the key. Like, right. So we were going down and we were all aggravated. And we ran into a girl who said, oh my God, I have been praying. I have just got chills. She goes, I have been praying for 3 days straight that I would run into you before I leave because I wanted to talk to you. What? Oh. If we would not, and so we reflected back on it and went, wait a minute, God made that key not work so that this girl could have that chance to have a conversation with us.
That's cool.
And like we get aggravated because we're a little inconvenienced or something.
Right. I know. I don't know why we do that.
I wish I could be perfect in my faith that way. I wish I could be, but suck.
Yep.
I suck. Oh my gosh. Okay. So before we got on, I asked you how many cups of coffee you have, and that made me, you broke up, or you had to change your internet or whatever for a second. And what I told you is you made me feel so good about myself. So can you tell everyone else out there how much coffee you drink?
Okay. Well, before I share it, let me just say it depends how many grounds you're putting in, because I could make 10 cups of coffee and put in 5 scoops, or I could put in 1 scoop.
What do you do? Because I do 5.
Just keep that in mind. It's about 1.5 scoops.
She's deflecting the question. You're Dawn Forkenbrock. You are deflecting the question.
This is my new favorite mug. It was an edible arrangement from my clients, and it's a coffee mug, but it's really big. Yeah.
Awesome. Your head.
Oh, it is big. Yeah.
But usually in the morning, it's about 2.5 of these is what I'm drinking with my unsweetened vanilla almond milk. And I like
oat milk.
No, not oat milk.
I told Kristen that because you said that you love to play the piano and sing. I said in the middle of the show, I'm going to ask her to break out in song. No, it never happened.
Okay, back to your almond milk, and then do you have more?
I really enjoying a Starbucks in the afternoon, like an iced latte. But I'm trying to kind of cut back right now because of the baby not sleeping and see
See, everyone out there, the struggle's real. Yes. And like the coffee addiction, it's a real thing.
Okay, so I do have one more business question for you, because we talked about going from 4 transactions to 8 transactions, and now you're at 46 transactions. So where do you get your business from?
Mm-hmm.
A big part of it is people I know. They trust me to either work themselves or give my name to somebody that they know. So that would be the majority of my business. And I always say this, but I'm just so grateful because there's 50,000 agents in Phoenix that have their license that maybe sell a couple homes a year. Like everybody knows a real estate agent or 5 real estate agents. So to me, it's just so humbling, that people would give out my name. But yeah, that's where most of it comes from.
And I love your humility about, you made a statement on your questionnaire. You were like, how grateful you are to God that you don't have that job anymore. Like when you're having a hard day in real estate, you're like, wait, I don't want to go back to Egypt. Like, I don't want to go back to that mentality. I need to be grateful for what I have now. You have a really great heart.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. And I think of it every time you start feeling that little bit of stress to peek in because something is happening. I'm like, oh, this is nothing. Like, I got this. This doesn't move me to tears and upset me for 2 weeks. So I'll handle it.
So is it just you? Do you work alone, or do you have a transaction coordinator or an assistant or a team?
Yep, I have a transaction coordinator, Kendall, who's amazing. And then I have a part-time assistant, Ashley, who is incredible. I could not do what I do without her. And then I do have some showing agents that help me from time to time in this market. You know how it is, like a house hits the market, you can't wait 3 days. And so if something amazing hits the market and my client wants to see it and I had something scheduled already, my showing agents will step in just for the showing.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's so important to have your team of people like to help you.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no way I could do it by myself. Like, I would be working 24/7, and that's not the life I want. And I want my clients to have a great experience. So you have to.
So many people are reluctant to give up any money for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But what people don't realize is when you delegate properly, you're not only blessing the people who are receiving that, because then, you know, they've got something to do that they're probably good at, but then your business tends to grow, not get smaller.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everybody. And yeah, maybe I'm not making as much money, but I always think about, is it worth the extra time I got with my family? And yes, absolutely. And you're right. And then you're blessing those people.
Mm-hmm.
A win-win.
Well, this has been so much fun, and we're so happy you came on, and we appreciate your time and
your internet. It did pretty good.
It came out good.
Yes. Thank the Lord. So we do have a couple of announcements. Don't jump off when we're done, by the way. So
Okay.
A couple of announcements. Ladies, if you went to the last Flourish, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally have some footage for those of you who ordered it. We'll get that out to you. But we're having another Flourish event November 4th and 5th. But we're really hoping that you'll come in like the 3rd and stay through the 6th,
Mm-hmm.
because we're adding on a bunch of social things around the Girl Educate Yourself Summit. And
one of them we've talked about is goat yoga.
we're trying to figure out goat yoga, maybe some archery, and like some really
we come up with
interesting
some
things.
fun stuff.
Yes. So
The other thing too we want to talk about is you guys are pricing the Girl Educate Yourself, like the IGTVs that we've been putting out every week. And so what we've come up with is we're doing a mastermind now, and it's going to start probably in June. And it's going to be twice a month, and it's going to be women all over the US that are masterminding together on specific topics. So it's called Girl Educate Yourself Conversation. So if you want to be part of that, make sure to send us a message, and we'll put you into the emails that go out and get you all involved.
And finally, if you know any women as wonderful as Dawn, there's not that many, but if you know other women as wonderful as Dawn Forkenbrock, then you can let us know, because we'd love to have them on the show.
Yes. And if you're watching this, doesn't she look and kind of seem like Zooey Deschanel?
I don't know who she is.
I'm going to show you her.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dawn, so much for being on today. And thank you, ladies, for watching.
Thank
Say
you.
on, Dawn.